Welcome to the Crime Scene Time Machine, episode 102. I'm your host, Scott Roeder, and I love you, Planet Earth. Today, I'm joined by a man who's been chasing the truth from the newsrooms of Hawaii and Iowa to the front lines of the UFOs of the greater Philadelphia area. He's the voice behind the Extraterrestrial Reality Podcast, the face of the Quirk Zone on YouTube, and a relentless investigator who doesn't let mysteries off the hook. Please welcome my friend, Mr. Jim Quirk. Jim, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Scott. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you, brother.
appreciate that.
It's great to have you here. You're a good friend. I love you. You've been a collaborator with me. Jim, I think you and I have spearheaded some interesting investigations in the past, particularly the Las Vegas alien event from May 1st, 2023. And I thank you for all of the hard work that you've done, the marshaling of the resources, the investigation on your own as a journalist, and collaborating with me. It's been a fun ride. And I just want to give you kudos for all your hard work on that case. And I'm proud to have played a small role in that. And I think that maybe we haven't shaken the world off its foundation just yet, but I think people are starting to take notice.
Yeah, we haven't shaken the world off the foundation yet, but the bottom line is that it's coming. It's like a train that's out of control, and it's going to happen. It's already out there. The train's out of control. It's on the track. The track falling apart. There's people screaming and hollering on the sidelines, and there's nothing that could be done to stop this. It's coming. There's no doubt about it. It's already out there. There's nothing that could stop it because we've already proven it. So good luck to those who want to try to pretend that this doesn't exist, this evidence that we've uncovered with regard to that Las Vegas alien incident, because we're not done with that one yet. I'm not done with it anyway. Maybe you are. I don't know, but I'm not done with it.
No, I mean, listen, I get requests on that all the time from people who want to know more, who want to do more, who want to find out. And matter of fact, a friend of mine, Stephen Diener from the UAP 850 podcast, said that the Las Vegas alien case is the number one requested case that he's ever put on the air by his viewers.
Yeah. I mean, that's because it proves undeniably, without any question, that we're not alone, that there's some sort of a non-human intelligent presence here. That's why people are interested in it. People aren't stupid. When, a lot of people got a taste of a lot of them did. A lot of them got a good taste of the research that we did, the analysis that you did, all of it, right? And they walk away realizing the same thing that we realize, is that this shows unequivocally that we're not alone. There's something here, and that's why people want to know more about it. And of course, I don't know. I did talk to you recently about that ridiculous what was it? Not Inside Edition. It was the Proof Is Out There episode, where they pretty much, it was a definite, no question about it, attempt at suppression of the evidence with regard to that case. They completely dropped the ball. They brought that idiot Mick West on, who's a total moron when it comes to this subject. He's disingenuous. And basically, he tried to say that all that happened there was a meteor came down. That's all he said. They didn't even talk about the video that the Kenmore family filmed, the 1 minute and 41 second video. That's the integral part of this entire case. They didn't even talk about that whatsoever. And then they just ended that little segment where they did talk about it in that show, saying, "Oh, this discussion of aliens, it's unfounded. It's all nonsense. No, none of that show deliberately put that episode out there to disinform the public, to lie to the public. I say the Proof Is Out There is junk. The people behind that are junk. The mainstream news and the History Channel and the owners of the History Channel, which I believe is the Hearst Corporation and Walt Disney Company, they're behind. That's all part of the establishment, obviously, and they don't want the world to know the truth. Obviously, they're in cahoots with this secret control group or at the Pentagon. Obviously, they're being told what to do, or either that, or they're just complete absolute morons. It's either A or B. Like I talked about before. There's no other. There's nothing. It's either they're stupid or they're lying. It's either A or B. Like I've talked about many times before.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that there is an interesting foundation from the media. It goes all the way back to Operation Mockingbird, which has been in effect for a long time. Post World War II, our media has been co opted by the secret control group, the military industrial complex, whatever it is you want to call them, the reptilians, but the one thing that I think you can't deny is that these are cold-blooded people that have some kind of stake in the truth not coming out. And that's why people like you are dangerous, because you take those stakes out and you shove them in their chest, just like Count Dracula, baby. But we're not here to talk about the Las Vegas alien case right now. Although
No.
there might be some weaving and similarities, as you'll find out, to the Los Angeles ring camera case from Jessica Ortiz. And let me introduce that case a little bit to everybody here. In June of 2025, Jessica Ortiz, a resident of the Compton neighborhood of Los Angeles, California, was awake with her son at 1 o'clock in the morning in their upstairs bedroom with their two dogs. And they had an announcement on their ring camera that there was a motion detected and the video footage was taken, and it was immediately sent to her phone. She looked at it. She saw what she thought was an alien, an ET, and she immediately called her aunt who lives next door. She said 15 minutes prior, she heard something crash onto her roof, and then she heard footsteps, and she didn't see anything, but she was so scared, she started to pray. And then about 55 minutes after she received the ring camera footage, she posted it to her Instagram and her Facebook. After that, we got in touch with her. I got in touch with her. You interviewed her. I interviewed her. I took a 5-page witness statement from her. We can go over that. I put out a previous podcast about that, and so did you. But we can get into some of the details about it. But she sent me the metadata from the ring camera, so it's a verifiable video. It has not been tampered with. And let me share my screen. I've got a couple of clips first from Inside Edition that will give you two different kind of perspectives as to how the media has handled this case initially.
I'm going crazy. I'm literally going crazy. Like, I'm losing my mind. And I took the phone to my son, so I was like, can you check this for me?
It's from her ring video from June 5th in Southern California.
And he's like, Mom, it's an alien. Call the police. And I was like, I'm not calling the police on an alien. I'm not going to go outside. I guess I'm going to have to live with the doubt, because I'm not checking.
Most likely, we're not alone here on planet Earth.
He's a crime scene reconstruction expert. With Jessica's information, he worked on an incident report and even this 3D model.
We estimate that the creature is about 3 feet tall, with 2 arms and 2 legs, walking at what we would consider a normal pace.
Dr. Sean Pang is an expert in digital cameras and imaging at UCF.
What we see really in the camera is not necessarily what you will see in your eyes, right? Because it goes through all these image compression and it goes through the transmission.
This mom woke up to something, well, out of this world. Is that an alien caught on her surveillance camera? It sure looks like one. The oblong-shaped head, the weird body, kind of like the alien from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was 1 a.m. when Jessica Ortiz got the scare of her life. What's the first thing that goes through your mind?
I'm losing my mind. It didn't look like anything I've ever seen before.
She stared in disbelief at the video. In the end, you can hear her rustling. How does it feel to say out loud, this could be a space alien?
Oh, this could be an alien. Yeah,
You're not nervous, embarrassed to say that?
No.
The video's been viewed millions of times, and there are a number of theories about what was actually captured on camera.
The most popular thing that I've heard is that it's a person carrying like either a white sweater, a jacket, or bags, like trash bags.
We showed the video to forensic crime scene investigator Scott Roeder.
The video is authentic. It's real. It's not a hoax. To me, it looks like some kind of non-human creature.
And get this, he even created a 3D computer-generated model of the so-called alien.
It's approximately 3 to 4 foot tall, 2 arms, 2 legs.
But Connor McCourt, a forensic video expert, says not so fast.
I think it could be an animal or a smaller person, maybe a child walking across the yard.
But I don't know who that guy was at the end there talking, but wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that What's he talking about? Why can't? Here's the problem I have.
Well, that sounds like a Mick West
It
explanation.
sounds like a Mick West nonsense. I mean, here's the deal. Let me just say this, okay? And even you and I, right? I mean, I'll even say this, right? Early on, especially, I'm open. Okay, if there's somebody wearing a costume walking there, but to me and to anybody else looking at that, it looks like an alien being. That's what that looks like. It doesn't look like a human. It doesn't. It's not shaped like a human. I'm not sure if a human could fit into a costume like that. But that guy there at the end of the Inside Edition episode there, what kind of idiot is he? I'm just. I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I'm just going to say what I want. What's on my mind.
That's why we love you, Jim.
Well, this is the truth. This guy's an idiot, obviously. He's gaslighting people. He said, "Oh, not so fast." And Inside Edition, it makes me so angry. It burns me up inside when these people gaslight. The Inside Edition guys, wait, he says not so fast. Like, what are you talking about? Why did they save that guy for last? He was a moron, doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, yeah, he might be right, but here's the thing. It might be an alien, too. How's that? That's where I'm at. It's not a kid. I don't think it's a kid. That's nonsense. It's not shaped like a kid. He's gaslighting people.
Yeah, there's not a lot of kids walking around at 1 a.m.
No.
It's not a raccoon. Okay.
No.
It's not a traveling band of puppeteers. When you go and you look at logic in science, the most obvious answer is usually the correct answer. And we now live in a world where our government is having congressional hearings, where there's whistleblowers coming out and saying this stuff is real, where there's been rumors about it for years and years and years, but there's evidence now that there is some kind of a non-human reality on this earth. And since, it seems like since the Vegas case, these encounters are coming a little bit more fast and a little bit more obvious. And I don't think there's any disagreement that we are living in an age where the veil is starting to thin, not only on how we see the corruption of our government leaders, not only how we see the meaningless and pointlessness and the brutality of military conflict, but also the nature of the reality in which we live. And I think seeing the non-human creatures is just another sign of the thinning veil.
Yeah, it's definitely thinning. I mean, here's the thing. We know now, we have all these decades have gone by, and there's been a lot of really good evidence. I mean, for one thing, the aerial school, as far as I was concerned, is undeniable.
Well, I think Dr. John Mack from Harvard did the most extensive research of ET contact people. And he came to the conclusion that none of these people had psychosis. None of these people were acting erratically, and that these people genuinely felt that this happened to them in the physical reality. And so many of these people happened to them, and they had so similar stories, it would be impossible for them to have their stories match up over such a wide range of time and such a diverse group of people to have the same fantasy. So I think Dr. John Mack really, opened the door for the human testimony of the reality, just like your human testimony. You believe that was real. There's no physical evidence, but now that we're getting physical evidence in other cases, it's lending more credibility to people like yourself and the people in the aerial school and the Roswell and all of those cases, the Turkey UFO. It's giving all of those events more credibility.
Well, I mean, here was the thing, and for ever since this thing started in 1947, there's been all kinds of UFO investigators, and some of the best ones. There was a guy named Ted Phillips.
Yeah.
He's no longer with us. He passed away some years ago now. But he did a lot of investigations of physical trace evidence where these things would land. He did a lot of those kinds of things. He found marks in the ground, burned things. Vegetation would be burned. There'd be a lot of cases where multiple witnesses saw the UFO landed. Sometimes they would find, in some cases there were even little footprints he would find, but that doesn't, for some reason, that didn't count as evidence, right?
And then Bigfoot, apparently, though.
Well, I mean, even that doesn't count. I mean, Bigfoot, that's another story for another day. But I mean, he did that. There was that kind of evidence. There's cattle mutilations that have occurred for decades now, and there's no answers with regard to that, other than the most plausible explanation for it is that, in my mind, as far as I'm concerned, is that it is some sort of non-human intelligent creatures that are responsible for that. I mean, there have been UFO sightings in addition to the cattle getting mutilated. So you have that. And there's been all sorts of evidence, the multiple witness evidence, like the Westall School in Australia back in 1966. I mean, how can you deny it? How can you deny the Ariel School? How can you deny the Turkey UFOs? Those videos, multiple long out. I don't know how many hours worth it is, but that guy took multiple videos. This guy, I can't Yalcin Yalman from Turkey, took over 3-year period, 2007, 2008, 2009. Had filmed multiple videos of this craft hanging out over the Sea of Marmara, and you could see alien beings. You could see them, and so you had that, and you also had that was looked at by video experts from 4 different countries who all came to the same conclusion that these were not fake. This is not a hoax, and there's some sort of a phenomenon here. There's something that they cannot explain.
Now, Jim, can you see this video I have up in the background?
I can see the video, but it's a still image of it.
Let me see if I can play it. Tell me if you can. Can you see it?
It's not moving. No. Okay, now it's moving. I see it moving now.
You might have a delay. Okay. So that was the original video. We're going to go back to the beginning so we can see it again. So you can just see it restart there, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see it.
So let's see. This is the original video here. Okay. And then we're going to wait a couple seconds, and you're going to hear the creature jump over the fence.
Is that what it did? Jump?
Yeah.
Or
well, we don't know. Hold on. Let's hear the sound. It either opened or jumped over the fence. I think it might have. Well, we don't know because Jessica said that. And let's go just by what I said again. Jessica said that. And you know what's interesting? Listen to the sound right as the video starts. What's that? I didn't notice.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that noise was. No, I have no idea.
I didn't notice that before. So let's just look at it one more time. So it's about 20 feet from where they are there to the fence, and it's a 6-foot fence. And it's a big metal fence, big metal gate fence, like heavy, with a padlock and like a privacy fence. So he opens that or jumps over it. We don't know because he thinks he opened it because that's the sound it normally makes when you open it. But the funny thing was when she came back in the morning. When she woke up in the morning and went outside, the gate was closed and nobody else had been out there. So she assumes that this creature opened up the gate, walked through, and then closed and relatched the gate.
Wow.
But yet the cameras in the back of the house didn't catch anything.
They usually would activate if there's any sort of movement. They activate it with movement, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So now my newest employee, Via, who is a talented young lady from Huron, Ohio. I gave her a crack at modeling this. She's extremely talented, one of my best new employees. So she came up with this under my direction, and let's take a look. Okay, now that's real time. That's real time. Wow. What happened originally. Now let's look at this. We're going to what she's doing now, she's taking her 3D model that she built and she put it in there so that we could see him in there. So now we see our guy. That's our 3D model, and that's the actual character. Okay, that's the actual guy. So we put our guy into the dark. So that's our 3D model. That's the actual alien. Okay.
Wow.
And now we're going to do a side-by-side comparison to show you how we got our model. Now check this out, Jim. This over here to the right is a Ring camera still image. Now check that. I'm going to pause that. The camera to the right, and we'll back it up just a little bit so you can see it without the texture. Well, okay. Okay, so this is just a still frame on the right, untouched, unedited, just zoomed in. Okay, now we're gonna wait till we side it here, then right there. So this is a perfect side view, texture mapped from this creature. And now Via, who also studies animal physiology and animal biology, that's what she studied in her undergraduate. uh, for physical modeling of human and animal creatures. So she took that skill about how to animate and model creatures, animals and humans, to take that fuzzy image we have to the right and contour it and shape it to scale and size to the figure we have on the left. Now we're going to go a little bit further into it. She's going to take our textures and overlay it over that picture on the right. Okay.
Wow. It's pretty neat.
And I think what you're looking at here, Jim, is a dead banger of what we had that that came in that yard. And it's this guy right here. And I want to pause it on a front view. Right there. Okay. So this is what I believe the Ring camera alien looked like. Now, I wanted to hypothesize a little bit, but before we hypothesize, I want to break down what we're actually seeing here. So I don't know if this is a reptilian. I don't know if this is an insect, or is this some kind of an exoskeleton suit, or is this the actual creature itself? If I'm looking at the biology of what we're looking at here, I'm thinking that the eyes are meant for low light, and it doesn't look like this thing could eat. It looks like it has a mouth slit, but not much else. It doesn't look like it has any ears. It doesn't look like it has a nose for breathing. So either that's an exoskeleton head, kind of like the predator creature. You know how he's an ugly guy, but then he had the face mask and stuff, and that helped him breathe. So this could be a breathing device and a seeing device, like a helmet. And there could be a different kind of alien underneath there, and that's just his exoskeleton suit. That's just a hypothesis. But this, to me, does not look like this doesn't look like an animal that eats and breathes and drinks water and stuff like that. To me, this looks like some kind of exoskeleton suit, but that's just a hypothesis. I'm going to open it up to you, Jim. What do you think?
Well, I think for one thing, it's very strange looking. I don't think I've ever seen something that looked like this before. I mean, described like this. We've seen a lot of different alien drawings based on people who encountered them, but I don't know if I ever saw anything that looked exactly like this. This looks really, really strange. It looks different. I mean, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of stories where the creatures are, it seems like they're one-offs, you know, like some, you know, people have these experiences, but you don't even hear about the description of these creatures. You don't hear them in any other stories. And this could be one of those instances. Maybe it's, I don't know. I mean, the idea that, you know, the ant next door had that sound 15 minutes earlier. Maybe that thing landed on a roof, and then I'm not even going to try to guess what happened with what happened there. I'm just going to focus on what we see in this video, and it's very strange. I don't know. I think it's great work what she did there. I mean, it's very strange look. I mean, imagine running into something like that on out and about. I mean, that would scare the hell out of you.
Well, then let's look at also the behavior here. So, and I was talking I actually had a meeting today with all of my people at my office, right? We were working on our new cases that we're working on and so forth. And then I took like 10 minute, we took a 10-minute break while we were on a break, and people are getting their coffee and donuts and whatnot. We're just getting ready to kind of figure out the next thing. I via presented this to everybody, and we opened it up. We're like, well, let's try to figure out, well, what do you think is going on with this creature? And some ideas that were thrown around were, well, it looks like he's lost. It looks like he's somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. It looks like he made, and then we're kind of having some fun with it. Like maybe he was drunk and they made a right turn and he fell out of the spaceship. Maybe he crash landed. Maybe his cloaking thing didn't work. And then I came up with an idea. What if he got arrested by the space police and his punishment was 24 hours on Earth without cloaking? See if you can survive. So I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? They don't always have to be here to eat our brains or hypnotize us and plant a chip in us. And I think, like you and I talked about before, I think there's a sliding scale on the benevolence, and the psychic ability and the physicality of ET creatures. And I think sometimes you might have like an ET dog, or you might have an ET ghost, or you might have an ET, super guy. And I think some of them are dumb, some of them are smart, some of them are good, some of them are bad. I put this guy in the category of unknown, but not actively hostile. To me, he looked like lost and he didn't know where he was going. That's just my guess.
You know what? There was a story and I can't place it. I know I've talked about it. I probably talked about it on a show. I know I read about this or heard about it on someone else's podcast or something. But there was somebody came or a couple of people came upon a craft or something, and they hurried up to get out of there or something, and there was a creature that was hanging on that didn't get inside.
Oh, no way.
And so I just wonder, let's just throw this little scenario out there.
Yeah.
Let's think about this. Okay, let's 15 minutes before this video occurs, before that thing. Okay, what if there was a craft and maybe they were doing some work on it, or maybe it was hanging out and it fell out, and that was the sound that the aunt heard on the roof was something, she heard a couple of thumps, right? And then some scratching sounds, and it scared her so badly she started saying her prayers, right?
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes later, her niece hears the sound, and she's alerted by the Ring camera by Ring saying something. This is what just went by your house, right? So what if that's what happened? It fell out of a craft onto a roof accidentally, and then it had to get out of Dodge, and it just, I don't know, maybe it needed to get to a place where it could get picked back up again without being seen or something. Who knows? Maybe its comrades didn't even know it fell out yet. I mean, who knows? They obviously, with what happened with Vegas, it looks like the accidents happen with these things. I mean, if you go by what's going on with the government here, right? Because the crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs, well, obviously these things aren't perfect, right? So accidents will happen. So this could just simply be an accident that occurred where this thing fell on the roof out of a craft, ended up somehow getting down off the roof. Who knows why they maybe use some sort of technology or ability to prevent those the front and back cameras from activating, but for some reason didn't realize, or maybe didn't have enough technology to prevent the middle camera.
We know from the Vegas case that their technology, they're cloaking glitches.
Yeah.
Right. And their glitching could have something to do with the conditions on the ground. And we know from history that these crafts can be shot down and they can crash. Right, because nobody's perfect. We spend billions of dollars on airplanes, and they crash all the time. You know what I mean? And I would think that ETs are, just because they're ETs doesn't mean they're perfect. They can make mistakes, and I think the United States and other countries, maybe China, maybe Russia, have developed technology to shoot them down. At least the people who say they know say that's possible. And I'm a big fan of this one show on YouTube called The Dark Journalist, and he had a theory, or he actually did an investigative report a couple of years ago about something in the 1960s in the official record from getting a FOIA request, uncovered discussions and official documents in Santa Barbara, California, by of a weapon that was called the Machizeldeck device. And apparently the Machizeldeck device was a weapon that could shoot down UFOs. And I find it interesting that they always use biblical or other kinds of references to Greek mythology or old Bible stuff. And the Machizeldecks is one of the original holy families out of the Bible. So it's funny that our military loves to use Zeus and the Immaculate Constellation. And let me ask you that: why does our government seems to obsess over using mythological and biblical terminology in our space technology and space exploration over the years? Why is that?
Well, I don't know. A lot of people in the Pentagon are very religious. That could be the case. But I think, Here's the thing. I think it's only a small, very, very small segment of our government within the Pentagon that actually has the has been read in on this. I think it's a very, very small. I think most people, some people are involved in it, and some that I think they don't even know what they're involved in sometimes. I think probably what we're dealing with here is a very, very small amount of people in the Pentagon. Some of them are religious, and they come up with the names like that. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just here's the thing. I think what's happened here, Scott, why we're seeing these things now is because our technology is catching up. Our technology is we're starting to, because of there's cameras everywhere now, high definition cameras pointing all over the place. We have these incredibly sophisticated cell phones, and the camera technology to film things is incredible on these things, and that's why we're starting to get more and more evidence, and more and more people are starting to suffer cognitive dissonance. I think. I mean, just going back to the video here. Now I don't know how many complaints I got. I'll get a lot of complaints. You could see right through that basket. It's like the basket was transparent. What's with the basket there? I mean, because you could, when the creature walks by in the Compton video, you could see through it. It's because it was semi-transparent, right?
There's a clear plastic basket. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've tried to explain this to people, but they don't. I don't know if these people are disinformation agents or just plain stupid. I'm not. Again, I don't know.
Well, I think some people are just agitators, and some people just want to be contrarians, and some people just want to be disruptors, and some people are dumb, and some people are jealous, and some people are weird and whatever. So I really don't care about what people say. And I don't think anybody should really care about what people say, because we don't. I know I don't get involved on the UFO phenomenon because I care what people think about it. And it's interesting that one of the questions that I was asked by the Inside Edition guy, and I think it was in a different clip that I'm not going to bother playing it, but he said, Scott, you're a crime scene reconstruction expert. You testify all over the world in court on serious matters. Aren't you afraid that this might tarnish your reputation? And I'm like, no. I was like, listen, because I have evidence for it, and I'm not here to speculate wildly and stoke fear and whatnot. I'm here to tell you that, for example, in the Compton case and mostly the Vegas case, but also the Compton case, I can lay the foundation to admit those videos as evidence in a courtroom. I can.
Yeah.
I think I can prove that there's actual real creatures in the Vegas case. I'm not sure the Compton case raises to that level, but I could argue it and I could put on evidence, and people would have to work hard. They have to work hard to even compete with that. So I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't be able to back up in a courtroom. So the answer is no. And he's like, well, what do lawyers think about that? And frankly, listen, if you're under the age of 40, chances are you believe aliens are real. If you're over the age of 50, maybe you won't. I think the younger people in our generation are so used to this as part of our zeitgeist, they're not surprised. I think these people that are like, oh, it's a raccoon and stuff like that, those are boomers. You talk to Gen Z, Gen Y, and the millennial class, basically anybody under the age of 38 to like 14, those people are going to be like, yeah, I'm sure the aliens are real and I'm sure that they're here. They're very open-minded. So, I think that the tide is turning, and as the boomers become less relevant and step out of control, I think I know I'm a Gen Xer. I think you probably are a Gen Xer too. You might be a little bit younger than me, but
older.
Oh, okay.
I'm older than you. So I'm 60.
Okay.
I was born in 68.
Oh, okay. So you're just a couple years older. But you're still a Gen Xer. Like you remember a day when there wasn't technology.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you remember
it's incredible. I mean, you just think about our lives. I mean, when I was a kid in the 70s, I mean, I could never have dreamed what we would have today. I could never even imagine it. It's incredible how we are advancing. But I have to say, I totally agree with what you just said about you just said that you could prove. I know. I firmly believe that if the Las Vegas case went to court, we could prove that. I believe that there's a jury would be convinced at the end of any sort of court case involving that evidence, right? There's no question in my mind. Now the Compton case, I do agree with you. It would be harder. For one thing, you don't have any eyewitnesses that actually saw it with their eyes, like unlike the Vegas case. Another thing we only have is that short little video. It's hard
Yeah,
to
but
say.
it's
It
almost
could be
2 minutes on the other one.
right. I mean, you have almost 2 minutes. You have people reacting to
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
beings outside. There was just so much to it. And then you had not only that, we have different, all the different videos, the body cam footage of the thing coming down from the sky. We have so much, and there's absolutely no way that that it doesn't involve NHI. It most certainly involves NHI, and as far as I'm concerned, that this is the proof that that finally takes us across the finish line. Although it hasn't been recognized at this point. I actually just did a podcast recently talking about this. That the people just don't realize it yet. It's really true. People don't. We brought when we did that Vindication Day show, right? And then for the months after that, there was more evidence that came after that. It wasn't just that. It's beyond any reasonable doubt at this point, right? But the Compton case would be harder. You wouldn't be able to convince a jury. I don't think in that one. I just don't think you would be able to do it.
Okay. Jim, I really think that that's wise feedback. And now, Jim Quirk can be found on Spotify, everywhere you can get your podcast. His show is called Extraterrestrial Reality. You can also find Jim on YouTube, The Quirk Zone. Anything else you want to plug, Jim, in the few moments we have left?
Oh no, I think you're doing a great job. I think I'm glad that you're still looking at some of these things. I know you pretty much did all you could with the Vegas stuff, and now you're doing work on this Compton alien. I think it's fantastic. I think this is great work. I mean, to have the 3D modeling. I mean, where's everybody else at? Where's the scientific community? Why aren't they looking into this? They're not doing anything.
We're gonna get him soon. Jim, I'm gonna let you do the final sign off the way you do. But on behalf of Jim Quirk, I'm Scott Roeder, and I love you, Planet Earth.
Thank you all for joining us here today. Until next time.